Hey babes, thank you for coming and thank me. You could thank me later, as thou Drake would say, for coming up with this amazing, most versatile sew-in I have literally ever seen in my life. It is the 3-part sew-in mixed with the vixen sew-in, and then I styled it into these super cute braided double buns. Super 90s, super yummy. So keep watching if you want to get this look. Okay, so we are starting off with some washed and conditioned hair per usual with my model Lauren, who I love, and I'm gonna do a part down the middle to start off like an anchor part and section off a area like about a half an inch, depending on the thickness of your client's hair, about a half an inch to the left or right of this part. And this is going to be the leave out for not only the middle part but for the entire like straight down the back of the head. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the side, and this leave out is going to be for the half up, half down, and around the edges, and that leave out is going to be for a ponytail. Now remember to keep these sections really rounded. Harsh lines are hard to cover with your hair. And the more curved the line is, the closer that you can get the track to the near the part, and that's what creates like that flawless, seamless blend. So yeah, I'm going to continue to braid up all of the leave out portion. And now I'm just parting off the leave out for the fronts as well. Remembering to keep those parts rounded as you can. Okay, now I'm going to separate the leave out for her side part, which will be within the front quadrants of the vixen sew-in. Yeah, so this small section that I'm parting off here is going to be where I attach the tracks that'll sit next to her middle part. And the next section, this here, is where her actual leave out will be for her side part. I'm going to braid that up later. And then the bottom area is where her tracks will be that'll sit under her side part. Hopefully this is making some sense. Like I said, if you guys need a more detailed tutorial, I'll be more than happy to do that for you. But per usual, I'm going to braid up the leave out portion. So you can see that'll be braided for the sew-in. The bottom will be braided for the sew-in. And I'll braid up this area right now. And that's where I'll be flat ironing it for her side part. Okay, so now that we have all of our leave out portioned out, it's time to start braiding for the sew-in. I'm going to add a little bit of hair just to create a little bit more of sturdiness to that braid, because when I tell you I'm going to put tracks on top of tracks on top of tracks on that one particular braid, that is exactly what I am going to do. And I'm going to bring this braid around where her side part will be, so around where I have the leave out braided up, just because I want that braid to be very smooth so that I can get that side part braid as smooth as possible as well. And now that I have it braided around her side part, I'm going to braid it around the perimeter of that entire section, including the back. That way we have the smoothest braided base that we can have for our ponytails and such, honey. We want this to be super laid. The reason why it's so much leave out is because we want it to look as natural as possible, and you want to have as many options as possible. If you kind of half-ass on the braiding, you're not going to have very many options at all. So here's the front section done, and here's the back section done, and I'm just going to braid down the length of her hair and show you how to wrap it within the braid so that you keep the perimeter braid as flat as possible. Something like this. And now I'm just going to braid up the other side. Leave out and braid for the sew-in. Here is the completed braid pattern. We have her leave out braided up. We also have the area we're going to sew on braided up. And that is the 4 quadrants along the sides. Now, when we do start to sew, I start to sew in the back, and I make sure that I do a track under the braid around the perimeter of each section, as if were doing a regular sew in, and I would do a perimeter braid around the entire head, because that would be the entire section that we're sewing, if that makes sense. You want all of the areas that'll be trying to be covered up by her real hair to have a braid under the track or as close to the part as possible, because that's what gives you a smooth lay. It also allows for coverage of where her leave out would be. Now here we want to get this top area as flat as the other side. The other side is done, this one isn't. So after I've laid my tracks kind of like in a C curve pattern, I finish it off with 2 or 3 flat tracks across the top, and this is what's going to give her the most natural look for her half up and half down styles. So now that these 2 portions are finished, I'm going to brush them through and just show you how curving those tracks helps to cover up certain areas. And this is the entire back finished. And now we're going to work on the top, starting from the far right side. You don't want to go over the area that you'll put the finishing track on around the parts, but you do want to come right up to it. And then on the other side, you want to create that curve as well to cover up this middle portion of the T that's created kind of at the back of her head, and that's where the most of her leave out will be. So you kind of want the hair to be guided to cover that portion to give her hair a little bit of help with blending. So as you can see here, when you pull it up, it's a smooth ponytail, but when you brush it down, not only does it go straight down, but it kind of covers across. And now I'm just going to put in the finishing tracks, one on either side of the middle part and one around both side parts for this finished seamless look. Now all the areas that are still braided is where I'm going to flat iron her leave out a bit later, but here you can see the side part, the middle part, and the other side part, and they are all flawless. So now I'm just going to flat iron all of her leave out and show you guys all of these styling options that you have with this particular install. You are going to literally love it and just pass out. I know you are. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Don't blame me, but it's fine. No more feeling stuck with the sew-in. You have all of the options in a world. You see here my client has natural hair and I'm still blending it to the gods. And if you were to do this with a texture that's closer to your hair, oh my god. Here is the left side part. Flawless, laid, super natural looking. By the way, I did the color on her hair. It's like a rose gold color. If you're interested in that, I can make a tutorial on that as well. Here is her right side part. Super cute too. Here is her middle part. Double buns on top, down in the back, which she loved because she got her length and her 90s. Double braids in the middle, and remember these have tracks in them, so it's kind of like a new version of the feed-in braid. Half up the double braids in the middle. Remember, you can get super creative now that you have all of these options. And the infamous double braided buns. Super 90s, super cute. If you want a tutorial on how I did this style, I can definitely do that as well. And thank you for watching. Thank you for Lauren, my gorgeous model as usual, and come back next Wednesday. Don't forget, honey. Just kidding. Love you guys. Bye.